Life is beautiful.
The Fio Bros Podcast.
How we doing? I am Mike Fio.
I am Nick Fio.
And you are listening to the Fio Bros Podcast.
Where you can count on daily wisdom to get your mind right.
So one of our biggest goals together is to write a New York Times bestselling book. And we've created an episode in the past about thinking from first principles, which is basically stripping down the core elements of this thing and how do you actually write the New York Times bestselling book. So when we did that, we realized, okay, there are certain steps that we need to take. You need to first get an agent who will then take your book proposal to a publishing house, aka like Penguin, Simon & Schuster, the people who go and actually make the books. And then they pay you in advance to go and write the book, and then you publish the book. So those are the steps to take. So you actually recently impressed me very, very recently.
Wow.
Where we knew these steps, and your brain always says, how do I make this easy? I'm always the guy who wants to do the grunt work. It's like, all right, let's grind it out. Let's figure out, let's build enough of an audience to get the agent. Let's lock it down. This is going to take a few years, but we got this. And you're like, how could I do this much quicker than that and with a lot less work? That's always the question you ask.
The dyslexic mind.
And so what does Nick do? We have a concept for the book that we really like. I'm not going to share it yet. I want to keep it a little secret, but it's in the spiritual realm. And so Nick goes to our favorite book, The Untethered Soul, one of our favorite spiritual books, and he realizes, okay, there's a publisher that just specializes in these really popular spiritual books. It's called Sounds True. So then Nick goes to LinkedIn, he finds the CEO of Sounds True, and then he spends
I think she's actually the founder.
Whatever. Okay. Founder and CEO. Is she the CEO?
No, I think.
Okay, whatever. He finds the founder of this company, and he finds her email, and he spends like 20 minutes sending this woman an email saying, hey, what'd you say to her? In short,
I basically told her who we were, that we had a shared mission, and that we'd love to talk to her and get some advice from her.
And then 2 days pass. And by the way, I get emails so Nick CCs me on all of these emails, these cold emails that he sends out. And so my inbox is full of just these cold emails that never get answered. But this woman, 2 days later, out of nowhere, shows up in my inbox. It was actually while you were having the baby.
Mm-hmm.
The email pops up from her and it says, hey, I would love to talk. I love what you guys are doing. Let me know how I can help. Let's set up a meeting. And we have not had that meeting yet because you just came back just to record these, but you're still in dad mode right now. But the moral of the story here is that you can just do stuff. You could just cut the line. You can just send a cold email to the CEO of a publishing company. You don't always have to do the long way. And it reminds me of this thing that Stephen Bartlett from Diary of a CEO, when we saw him on stage, he talked about this concept of paper walls, how we live life thinking that there are these walls that are containing us in these basically confined spaces where there's limits that we place on ourselves. But when we go and knock them down, we realize they're made of paper.
Yeah.
There are all these limits we think are there, but they're paper walls. You could just knock them down. And that's exactly what you did by just reaching out to the CEO of this company with not much leverage. I mean, yeah, we have a little leverage, but what did we really have to offer? Not much.
Yeah.
But you just knocked down the paper wall. You're like, why can't I reach out to this woman? Why not? What do I have to lose?
The paper wall principle. I love that.
Yeah.
And I really learned this in corporate America, where everyone around me, I was the lowest, obviously, coming in out of college. And I realized just everyone around me was kind of operating with this typical structure, okay, from here, I got to go up to this position, and then I'll go to that position and I'll work hard. And I was just like, why can't I reach out to the CEO and just talk to them and get advice from them to learn, how did you go from where I am right now to where you currently are?
Yeah.
And I just started doing that then. And believe it or not, people really want to help.
Yeah.
If you learn how to ask appropriately, people really do want to help.
Yeah. If you show that you're this hungry up-and-comer who wants to add value.
Yeah, just basically don't be a selfish prick. Right? Just don't be like, hey, you're the CEO. I really want to talk to you so I can get promoted. That's not going to work. Or I want to talk to you so I can get something just for
All
myself.
right, let's not turn this into a networking masterclass from Nick,
Okay.
because I know that you can
But
do that.
basically, that's when I really learned this paper wall principle was when people were started saying yes to me.
Yeah.
And then I started realizing I could just do things.
Yeah.
I can really just do things.
Yeah.
And that's when I discovered the magical place on the internet known as LinkedIn, where you have access to every single individual in the professional
Did you check your
world.
email?
But yeah, man, this concept is so true. And I feel like
Yeah,
with
to bring it back to everyday life, though, I feel like the most common, like, paper walls are when people say, you can't do that.
Mhm.
Like, for example, this happened with us with our weddings, right? We have these big Italian families, and mom and dad would say, you can't not invite this person. Like, they're your third cousin that lives in this small town in Italy, then you've never met them, but you can't not invite them. They're family. like really, I'm not inviting them. Like,
paper wall.
destroyed. Or people would tell me, like, you can't drop out of school. Like, you can't do that. You need a degree. You can't drop out of school. And I'm like, really? Paper wall. Knocked it right down. And look at me now. Like, it's the best decision I ever made. I didn't waste all this money on debt for a degree that I would have never used, because I knew all along I was meant to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So I think there
And
is.
then you go back to history, right? The Wright brothers.
Yeah.
People will never fly.
Yeah.
No, and then
Let alone two bicycle mechanics in this little town in this little city in Ohio, versus, the most wealthy and notable scientist in the entire country. Like, they were literally racing to be first in flight. So not only did they break the paper wall of flight can't be done, but they broke the paper wall of
two nobodies.
two nobodies are going to be the ones that figure this out.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a really cool principle to take into your day.
Yeah. Basically, the principle is you can just do things.
Yeah.
That's the moral of the story here. You can do things, and don't let other people limit you.
Yeah, I like the visual of, like, up, paper wall, boom, knock it down. Like, visually doing that,
Yeah.
like, something pops up today, paper wall, boom, knock it down.
Yeah. That also, when you're like on the phone, right, and you're trying to get a customer service, whatever it is, just keep going higher and higher. No, I'm sorry, we can't do that. Paper wall, keep going. I want to speak to someone higher.
Only you would think of something like that, Mr. Deals. All right, let's end with a call to action. I have an interesting one, a very specific one. It's to send a cold email that could potentially change your life. And the important thing is not that you get answered. The important thing is that you just give it a shot. You reach out to someone who you would never think to reach out to, because there's no way in hell this person's going to answer you. Go and reach out to them and see what happens.
Yeah, I think that's great. I love it. All right, paper wall principle. Hope you found it helpful. Thanks for hanging out with us. We love you. Peace.
Thank you so much for listening all the way to the end. If you're new here, we share daily mindset motivation in 10 minutes or less. So if that's your vibe, hit subscribe or check out another episode right here.